Joining us now is Gary Bedard, this year's Titus-Ferguson Award winner. So first of all, congratulations.
Jacqueline, thank you very much.
Of course, thanks for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about this award.
Well, within the spectrum of the Academy, it is a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Right.
So they are considered to be the highest recognition for an individual that's a practitioner in the field.
And I mean, how does this make you feel as far as being amongst, I'm assuming, a huge pool of potential candidates, and you took home the trophy, so to speak?
So to speak, yes, I did. The notification that came from Rick Miller, who's the immediate past president of the Academy, did come as a shock because obviously it's not a scheduled event. And Rick being a long-term colleague, initially I thought he was calling me looking for some assistance within his practice. So when we got on the phone, we spoke back and forth, and I finally said to Rick, well, how can I help you today? He said, well, I'm not looking for any help. Are you sitting down? And lucky he did give me a little pre-warning.
Sure.
That when he told me, I found that I was quite taken aback, because this is nothing that you plan for. This is something that the Academy and the board and the executive officers of the Academy select on their own. So I'm sure that all the previous recipients were quite as surprised as I was too.
Definitely. It's nice he told you to sit down, just in case.
Yes.
All right. So tell us, I mean, how have you seen the profession change or advance over the past 20 or 30 years?
Well, I wish I was in the field for just 20 years, but so I'll use the 30 reference. And from that standpoint, I would say that overall, that you just see a greater level of sophistication that have come on board, not only from a technical standpoint, but from a clinical standpoint as well.
Sure.
And also in terms of how we manage our patients, that at this point in time it's very much disciplined towards evidence-based, where in the past sometimes it was guided more by expert opinion. Now you have a much broader range of information and knowledge that comes in to help the practitioners to make that clinical decision.
So what are you most excited about in terms of research and moving forward?
Well, for myself, being primarily, even though I'm trained in both disciplines, orthotics and prosthetics, I'm one of those people that's a very small p, big O. So consequently, I concentrate on the orthotic side.
Sure.
And since a great deal of my clinical activities have been within the spinal cord injury realm of managing patients, that one of the key factors that we face as orthotists is that we're always providing our patients with body power devices, especially for locomotive capabilities. And so for myself, fortunately having been located on the West Coast, I was very fortunate to work with University of California at Berkeley with their robotics program and actually see the birth of wearable robots.
Right.
So at this point, you know, the funding aspect of that is still in question. It's only the VA that does have a formal structure to provide it to our veterans. But just that the concept of the technology that we're going to have wearable robots or powered devices for individuals that have a debility to their locomotive capability, I think that's tremendously exciting. So
Definitely.
Once the funding aspect gets sorted out, which seems always the most difficult part in our healthcare system, that I can't wait that those devices come within the mainstream of our scope of practice.
Sure. So in addition to that and the funding, as you mentioned, what other maybe technological advances would you like to see happen?
Well, from I think what would assist technology in the field is not so much that our access to technology, but it's always our access to funding. And as clinicians, we're still tied to the delivery of a product. I would like us to finally get to the point where we're recognized for our clinical input, our clinical activities, because right now we're only paid for that product. If we were reimbursed or had that clinical support,
Sure.
For our clinical activities, then we would have the ability to bring in the tools that would allow us to incorporate gait analysis into all our cases and also have a higher degree of outcome measures. So I think going forward, I would like to see those capabilities come into the field, but they really will only come in if we have a mechanism of reimbursement that supports those clinical activities.
Right, definitely. All right, Gary, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.